Hi everyone, welcome to the August version of Tellico Village Golf Talk. I'm Lynn Willis, your host, and with me as always is one of my best friends, Chris Sykes, Director of Golf here at Tellico Village. Welcome, Chris.
Yes sir, thank you, Lynn.
You know, we are doing this show here again out at Kahidi because of the bunker work that's been going on out here. A lot of people don't seem to understand how, when, what are we doing with the bunkers. The bunkers have been an issue here at Kahidi for 15, 18 years from the time it was built. Some very severe and so on and so forth. So they're trying to remedy that. Chris is working real hard with his staff and getting things done. So we're going to talk about the bunker renovation here at Kahidi today. And with Chris is Bill Bergen, the course architect that is going to help us and design the new bunkers. And with that, Chris, would you like to lead on with Bill?
For sure. Just give you a little background. So obviously, you know, the number one infrastructure we've been dealing with for as long as I've been here are the bunkers at Kahidi. So this project is very much long overdue. So not only did they need to be reconstructed to be more maintainable, more sustainable, but in the process of just completely blowing them up, we're able to improve the playability, improve the artistic value. So that's where we bring in world-renowned, good friend of mine. Sorry, maybe you're not my best friend. Bill Bergen's my best friend.
How are you? Len, nice to see you.
World-renowned architect Bill Bergen, who has been our golf course architect here in Tellico Village since 2013, when we first started to partner up with the project at Tokwa. So we did a lot of work there for a number of years, remedied the bunkers there. Now we're here at Kahidi, taking care of the bunkers here, and this is just exceeding expectations. It's going beautifully. Kudos to Jordan Clark, golf course superintendent, and his team, Josh Gunner, the assistant golf course superintendent, our shapers, Francisco and Benito, but it's all under the direction of Bill Bergen. And just give you a little background on Bill. Grew up in the Atlanta area. Is from Alpharetta, Marietta now.
Marietta grew up there, but lived in Alpharetta when you were paying me the first time. Now it's Atlanta.
Right, so our checks go a different place. But anyway, Bill went on to play collegiately at Auburn, was an All-American. So I had a daughter that went to Auburn, so Bill's got a star in downtown, which is really neat, kind of like the Hollywood Walk of Stars in Hollywood. So he's got his own star because he was an All-American on the golf team, went on to play professionally, played in the U.S. Open, the British Open. So he's seen it and done it, everything in golf, and found his true passion, taking care of golf courses, worked for
Bob Cupp.
Yep, so with no further ado, Mr. Bill Bergen, it's your show. We're excited to have him as our second guest star, just to highlight the bunker project at Kahidi. So if you would, Bill, thank you.
Thank you, Chris and Lynn. It's a pleasure to be here. The bunker project at this golf course really started in my mind probably around 2013 when we were working at Tokwa. But we came over here and saw this golf course at the time and were amazed at first the quantity of bunkers. I think at that time it may have been over 100. Would that be fair to say?
Approaching 100 for sure.
Approaching 100 bunkers, and they were struggling with maintenance mightily. And you know what happens when you take your staff and they've gotten the golf course in beautiful condition, and all of a sudden an afternoon thunderstorm comes and the bunkers are just ruined. And that is demoralizing, frustrating, it's bad for the membership, and it's really bad for the staff. So I am delighted to be in here at this point, renovating these bunkers and changing both the playability, improving maintenance, and then adding a really cool look to Kahidi. We're standing here on the third hole, and this is a classic example of what we've been doing throughout the golf course. If you look in the background, you'll see two bunkers, and they are bold, substantial bunkers. They definitely grab your attention, but originally there were 4 or 5 bunkers on this hole. There were even bunkers way off to the right side, and the bunker off to the right side, I use this phrase often. I said that bunker was designed to capture those who least need to be captured. And those of you who have been in that bunker know exactly what I mean, because it's not in play for your better player at all, but really impacts the typical golfer here at Kahidi. So now you look at the green behind me and you'll see the front bunker. And that bunker was a cavernous 8 feet deep on the original bunker. And we came in and lifted the bottom of that floor 2 feet. Well, that doesn't have any impact at all on the better player. It's still the same challenge that they had, whether it's 8 or 6 feet. It doesn't make a difference. But you think about the players who can barely get out of bunkers, who have less clubhead speed and just can't generate the strength to get out of that bunker. a 2-foot difference in height makes a big difference. Not to mention, it's easier to get in and out of the bunkers now, physically, with your own body. You can step into the bunker on the low side. It's a nice little 6-inch drop. Easy walk in, easy walk out. Much better for most players, all players. And looking at big picture wise, we originally had 41 bunkers on this 9, and now we have 24. So we have reduced 17 bunkers. That means the playability around the greens complexes has changed, and more importantly, the maintenance has changed. And what you're going to see now is that Jordan and his team are going to be able to give you guys consistent excellence all the time. We've had big rains since we started this project, and the bunkers have held up beautifully. Chris has dealt with a similar type bunker as far as philosophy goes back at his golf course for many years now, and he has been delighted with the consistency of maintenance there. These look a little bit different, but what we do on our bunkers is we create a crest line above the bunker that doesn't let any water get down into the sand. It diverts water off to the side. And that's been a very important part of this project, is diverting water and making sure these bunkers are consistent day in and day out. Now this is a big, bold, beautiful golf course. I've rarely seen a development golf course with this kind of acreage. This place is huge. That's why we have the fescues for one thing. They fit perfectly out here, but they greatly reduce maintenance and allow our team to spend time where it's needed most. The bunkers are following the same suit. We're going to allow Jordan and his team to spend time in the areas that we need it most and not waste time dealing with bunkers.
And I think that's really part of the genius of the end result here, Bill, is the fact that, you know, we've made this golf hole more playable, more sustainable, but in the process of doing so, you've made it no easier for the low handicapper, but you've made it more playable for the high handicapper, which is the bulk of our clientele. And in the process of doing so, our demographic, we're a retirement community, so they can get in and out physically, they can get out from playing the game. So in a nutshell, we've improved the golf hole looks better, it plays better. It's no easier for the low handicapper. It's probably a little more challenging for the low handicapper with some of the collection areas that you've added, all the while making it infinitely more playable for the high handicapper, and so got rid of some of the fluff and the nonsense that we don't need, and no golf course needs for that matter, but especially in Tellico Village, where we're a retirement community. We want to be able to play a lot of golf and do so fun and at a rapid rate.
Absolutely, and to mention the playability, while we were standing here getting ready to film this episode, we watched 3 players go into that green complex. One of the players landed just to the right of the bunker in what used to be the old bunker. And what you'll find is players who need to use the access in front of the green, they'll get a bounce up where normally they would have been in the bunker. And so just that fine tuning of 10 feet here and 10 feet there to give you more ground access onto the putting surface is very valuable. And we've only watched 2 groups while we've been here, and one of the groups used it. So it's a really effective way of thinking about people playing the game on the ground and how flying it onto a green versus around the green impacts play. The new bunker configuration has created more playable space around the greens complexes. I'm a firm believer in giving golfers the ability to play golf well with less than perfect golf shots. And the way we do that is we reduce some of the impact of the bunkers. We keep them there, they're still a challenge. You can still tuck a flag behind that bunker, but we've created a little bit wider gap entering that green. And we just saw a player use it when we've been watching the groups come through. And it's really interesting to think about, well, that ball that just landed just to the right of the current bunker would have been in the other bunker. That player went from making par, and he would have probably made bogey, most likely with an 8-foot deep bunker. And so there's subtle impacts on where we put the bunkers and how we shape the chipping areas around the green to give you guys interesting shots that are fun and playable.
I guess something else about the bunkers here, you know, we worked together for 3 years at Tokwa, renovating the bunkers there, and you've really become the TriStar State of Tennessee's golf course architect. You've done a lot of projects in the state. You know, we're fortunate you're as local as a golf architect's going to be, just being from Atlanta, being able to get up here on a weekly basis to spend time with us to refine this project. But one of the differences between what we had at Tokwa and now what we're incorporating into Kahidi is a lot more artistry and architectural flavor and movement in the bunkers. This is kind of a newer style for you, how your craft has evolved, and obviously it's very appropriate for, of course, the scale, and not to mention it's the links of Kahidi, right? So it really fits, and you know, not only do we have very functional and effective bunkers, but the architectural flavor is really exceptional in all the movement and creativity and just how natural they feel and they blend into the golf course. So kudos for that. I don't know if you wanted to touch base on kind of your thinking there.
Sure. So Chris mentioned that I've worked on a lot of golf courses in the state of Tennessee. In fact, if you add up all the golf courses I've touched, I believe it's probably more than any architect in history. I've worked from the Memphis area to Knoxville through Nashville, Chattanooga, all over the state. And we did a bunker project, well, we did a full renovation to Chickasaw Country Club in Memphis, and we created a different style. We don't want all of our golf courses to look the same. In fact, we want each golf course to stand on its own uniquely, and the bunkers are a big part of that. Now, I'm a believer that the bunker maintenance is incredibly important, so we stick with a sand in the bottom, grass face type bunker with a great crest line that moves water away from the sand. We believe in that philosophy. I like the way that looks. I love the way it maintains, and the playability is incredibly consistent. But we don't want them all to look the same. And as you guys know, I did the bunker work at Tokwa, and we don't want Kahidi to look just like Tokwa. Even though naturally the land is a little bit different, this is a big, spacious golf course. But we have a bunker style here that has more artistry, more sculpting on the face. Mechanically, it works the same exact way, but it looks different. And I know Jordan really liked that look, and he said, I want that look on our golf course. And I gladly said, absolutely, because I haven't done it that much. So it's more unique in our repertoire. The only other course in Tennessee that has it is in Memphis, so that's pretty far away. So you guys can stand on your own with the artistry of these bunkers.
We're going to move on and go throughout the golf course a little bit, Bill, and talk about some of the other strategy. But again, I'm just grateful and privileged to work with you, and I feel fortunate that Telco Village has been able to partner with you and on this particular project, and we got some other projects we're doing some legwork and planning on as we move into the future. So kudos to you and your team and the fine work you're doing, and we're about 80% complete at the timing of filming this episode, so a couple holes left to complete. And as we've moved deeper into this project, you just continue to exceed expectations. So you and Jordan and his team and the shaper, those guys have done incredible work. So thank you and kudos to you and your team.
Well, no doubt, and we couldn't do it. It's a three-pronged approach when you're talking about construction. The architect has a vision and a plan, but the contractor needs to be able to implement that and make it happen, and then the golf course superintendent and his staff have to make it look great. So it's totally a three-pronged stool that one can't stand without the other. So we really have worked together as a team, and that's been a great process, and I couldn't ask for a better team, especially with the value that we're getting for the club here. Now, let's talk about a couple holes. Let's start with the par fives. So when you look at the par fives on this golf course, they had a massive number of bunkers. Just look at number 18, for example, which we will get to. But right now, we've done the first hole, and it's finished. And it has this just great look. When you stand on the tee box and you want to get a feel of what we've done, it's an excellent example. There are two bunkers down the left side. Their job is to keep you in play. Well, we took those bunkers and we lengthened them, creating a wall. So if you pull your tee shot on number one, we're trying to keep you in bounds, okay? Keep you in play there. You've got a little bit more sand to collect your golf ball if you're heading to the left rough or the cart path. The cross bunker is sort of the fun part. That's for the aggressive player who wants to challenge the hole, knock it on in two, make a birdie or make a par if you're a bogey player, and be more aggressive. And that sits perpendicular to the line of play. And then up at the greens complex, we took out a front left bunker. And people would go, wow, that means the golf hole's easier, right? And I'm like, no, not necessarily. It's definitely easier if you hate bunkers and if you can't spin the ball out of a bunker. But for the better player, the ball can kind of tend to run off further away into a closely mown area where getting it up and down is not automatic. But a lot of people are happy to avoid the bunkering, so there's a little bit of a reduction there. And then this morning we're working on the 9th hole, the infamous 9th hole, par 6, 800 yards. Kind of crazy with the bunker positioning on that hole because I don't even know where people are playing from as far as tees go, but we kind of set it up so that it works for everyone. So we've got a beautiful fairway bunker down the right side. We've taken out 2, okay, that have been eliminated. Then you move closer to the greens complex and you have 2 bunkers on the right. And when we get finished, you're going to see this beautiful kind of angled positioning of bunkers that moves from right to left at the far end of the green. In between, you have the option of either playing left and taking the bunkers out of play, or actually playing to the right, going over the bunkers, getting right in front of the green.
Challenging it.
Absolutely. So players can sort of, with our strategy, players are able to navigate their way around hazards, but if they want to score better, oftentimes they do need to take that challenge, and it's right there in front of you, but you do not have to do it.
Well, Lynn, you can see why Bill is my best friend, right?
Yeah.
He's a good friend and for sure the star of this episode. And thank you for participating. Lynn, you want to wrap us up?
I've lived here in Kahidi for 19 years, so thank you.
Yes, and it's a pleasure to live here for 19 years, I'm certain.
And with that, I want to, again, if you see Chris out and about on the golf courses or anywhere, and any of his staff, you're playing golf and they're working or whatever, stop and say thank you. I mean, they're working for us and they do a great job. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Lynn.
So with that, I also want to thank Tellico Village Broadcasting. They came out here to the golf course with 2, 3 cameras and 5 guys and are doing a fabulous job for supporting what is needed in Tellico Village. So with that, we hope to see you next month for the Tellico Village Golf Talk. Have a great day and tee 'em up.
Tee it up, Tellico Village.
Thank you, guys.